Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? The forum discussion is about to begin. Assalamualaikum and a very good day I wish to all of you. Welcome to our forum today. My name is IZZATI HASHIM as your moderator. I would like to thank to all of you very much for attending this forum. In this honorable day, we would like to highlight a topic that is quite interesting to be discussed on, which is the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia and how to overcome the issue. In this discussion, will enable you to think about the topic that will be highlighted. I'm sure that every one of us has our own opinion and thought about this topic. Before we proceed to our forum, I would like to introduce our panelists today. Our first panelist is Datin EMYLIA AFFIFAH, representative as Human Resource Manager of Mega Holdings Company. Next to her, our specially panel 2, Dr. Julia BAHIRAH, Lecturer of Fundamentals of Economy in University Technology Mara, and the last panel of the day is Ms. NURUL IZZATI, as our fresh graduate from UiTM Arau branch. Hope that all of you are in pink of health. Before we start our forum in detail, let me explain about our topic today. As we know, nowadays, youth unemployment is one of the top current issue among fresh graduates in Malaysia. This issue is skyrocketing and a big concern in our developed country. Youth unemployment can be defined as those that age from 16 to 25 years old, especially fresh graduates that have not worked more than a short period of time. However, they are still available for jobs and still seeking work actively. Nevertheless, there are some factors that lies in youth unemployment in Malaysia and ways on how to overcome this issue. For further details about this topic, I would like to seek an information from our panels. Without wasting time, let's hear the opinion from the first panel, Datin EMYLIA.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. In my opinion, the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia is the fresh graduates in Malaysia have a high dependency on jobs offered and have a mismatch of skills and education. Graduates today expect employment offers to include a bundle of benefits like excellent income, a comfortable work location, no shift work, no work after 6 p.m., and so on. When looking for jobs, graduates might be selective and employers can be selective as well. Although there might not be any openings in the industry where they train, some graduates just wait for their ideal position. Malaysian graduates are unrealistic in their demands for pay. They see a higher compensation than they deserve. Besides that, they desire a job that is close to their residence so that they may easily commute from home to work. Graduates with a variety of experiences are what the employer is looking for. 6 months after completing their education, graduates from Malaysia are either jobless or choosing positions that need more training than they really possess. Dr. Yakin Len, Professor of Economics at Stanford University, says they are facing shortage of low-skilled workers, but unemployed Malaysians are not willing to take up these low-wage jobs. It's either due to the wages being too low or the nature of the jobs are difficult, dangerous, and dirty. Moreover, mismatches between occupations and abilities are frequently blamed for high and continuous unemployment rates as well as vacant jobs. The research indicates the significant mismatch or job mismatch between people. Despite the fact that there are more job openings than there are available candidates, many job seekers remain unemployed since many firms were unable to identify the specific set of skills required for the current business tasks among them. In fact, according to Socio-Economic Research Centre (SERC), the uneven recovery contributed to an increase in unemployment, while skills mismatch is due to changing demands in the labour market. A person can be simultaneously overqualified and underskilled when the field of education does not correspond to the field of occupation. As a result of this scenario, graduate unemployment has become a severe issue. That's all. I pass back to our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Datin EMYLIA. From your explanation, you strongly believe that the fresh graduates in Malaysia have a high dependency on jobs offered and mismatch of skill and education as the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia. Now, let's move to Dr. Julia BAHIRAH, our second panel. So what's your opinion about this issue?
Thank you, moderator, for the question. I think the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia is because of the economic downturn resulted in no job opportunities. An economic downturn is a general decrease in economic activity that lasts for a long time. It may occur in a specific location. For instance, Malaysia, facing an economic downturn due to COVID-19 since 2019 till now. As we can see, several factories had to close due to movement control order, or what we can consider a lockdown. During movement control order, demand for goods from customer was decreased since some people could not afford to buy them. The factory is facing a lack of profit, which causes them to have to lay off their employees for not being able to pay employee salaries. As a result, labor workers lost their job and were forced to be unemployed during MCO due to the recession. According to the Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, the COVID-19 issue will result in the unemployment of approximately 2.4 million Malaysians. It seems a larger number show that the unemployment issue in Malaysia is quite worrisome. In fact, unemployment issue will cause social deprivation and has an impact on individual physical, mental and psychological health. That's all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Julia. That was a great point to be said. Now, Miss Izzati, in your opinion as third panel, what about your point of view as a fresh graduate of main factor of our topic today?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Okay, about this issue, in my opinion, the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia is the language barrier. There are many theories on the reason why graduates are unemployed in Malaysia for a period of time. According to a research conducted by the National Higher Education Research Institute (IPPTN) on February 2019, the research reveals that Malaysia graduates are weak in command of English language and communication skill in this language, graduates having difficulty to communicate and also have a low interpersonal relationship. Moreover, as one of the graduates from the university that only has Bumiputra students, I'm also worried about this issue since most Bumiputra graduates find it difficult to secure employment because of communication skills and language barrier proficiency. The lacking language skill encompass all language but are especially prevalent when it comes to English. For example, like most of the jobs that are available on the market now requires you to be in touch with the customers or the clients. You often need to be convinced them that your company's product or service are the most suitable for them. However, their inability to communicate well in other language, be it English or any other preferred medium, will hamper their chance of doing so. This attributes to why it is difficult for them to find jobs. This is especially true in English, which is a required medium in many companies, but many Bumiputra did not master this language well among other preferred language like Mandarin. And nowadays, we can see most of the graduates with rural background lack of communication skills because of most of the residents staying in village communicate using their own dialects or mother tongues. They seldom speak in English. However, in Malaysia, the working environment mostly requires people to communicate efficiently in English. Therefore, weak English proficiency among Malaysian graduates is one of the main causes of a lack of self-confidence in interacting, which leads to them preferring to remain silent. So that's my opinion. I will pass back to the moderator.
Thank you, Ms. Izzati, about the language barrier as the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia. That was a great point to be added. So, all panelists, do you guys have any opinions wanted to be added?
I have a few points to support my opinion earlier. The issue of mismatch still continues, and some graduates struggle to find suitable positions that match their qualifications, which result in a significant dependence on the job supply for recent graduates in Malaysia. For instance, consider chemical engineering graduates working in marketing or public relations role. This results in many people being hired in professions for which they are not suited. Additionally, it's a good idea to brush up on the skills to increase the chances of recent graduates, even if the job market may be far more competitive than it formerly was. A According to the International Labour Organization, skills mismatch has negative consequences for the productivity and competitiveness of companies, which affect their ability to implement new products, services, or technologies. Graduates should change the perception and not be too choosy when looking for employment. I believe that a high dependency on jobs offer and have a mismatch of skills and education are the main factors of youth unemployment among Malaysian graduates. That's all my point of view today. Thank you.
Sorry for interrupting, but in my opinion, to the Datin Emilia's explanation about the skill mismatch, education, high dependency, and so on, I believe these are actually the significant factors of this issue because skill mismatch has been a persistent issue in Malaysia where the expertise of job seekers, particularly fresh graduates, do not match industry requirements. And now, Malaysia, like many other countries waking up to the opportunities of digital technology, face a critical challenge in addressing skill building needs and ensuring Malaysians can find the right job. However, on my opinion about the language barrier, but not as the main factor of this issue also, even though language barrier is not as serious as it looks, further graduates should not take this lightly as the number of unemployed graduates is moderately increased throughout the year. Graduates need to improve their English proficiency either in oral or writing as it plays a critical part of graduates to be employed. I think that's all from me.
Sorry, may I interrupt a penalty which is Miss Izzati? In my point of view, I do not think that lack of proficiency in language such as English and Mandarin as a main factor of youth employment. Due to Malaysia is the intermediate language in Malaysia. Language is an essential communication to occur in our life and for us to interact with others, particularly at work. However, if a company is only interested in English and Mandarin, it shows one of the appreciation for Malaysia. In fact, only a few companies require employees who are fluent in English and Mandarin. For instance, only customer service, airline crew, and equivalent to it need to fluent in third language. To conclude, the main cause is not a language barrier. Meanwhile, language proficiency is required only in certain industry. Back to moderator. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So we just have listened to discussion about the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia. Now, I would like to ask to our honorable panelists, Datin Emilia and others, what do you see as the way to overcome this issue being hampered to the youngster generation?
In my opinion, one of the major or tactics that the government may pursue is the creation of an educational framework to suit the requirements of the future. Additionally, in order to raise student accomplishment, the government might change the way that education is organized. This is due to the development of specialized skills that key players who are in great demand need. In order to develop learners who are trained and skilled before entering the workforce, skills training, for example, digital skills must be effective. Another strategy that can conduct by the government is it was similarly crucial for the government to introduce the active labour market policy to address the issue of skills mismatch when workers switch from their prior occupations to a new industry. This is another technique that the government may use. To satisfy the need, it is essential to actively deploy the upskilling, reskilling and cross-skilling training program provided by several organizations, including the Human Resource Development Fund, SOSO, SME Corporation, Majlis Amanah Rakyat and Protegi. Apart from that, graduates might also strive to obtain any form of work experience, for instance, the 2U2I program that will aid them later on when they seek for different employment. Thank you so much.
To overcome this issue in economic term, which is based on the news by Carlos Chow, they were stated that the government has set up 4.8 billion to create 600,000 job opportunities. Furthermore, the government is upskilling the workforce to create 220,000 job opportunities and implementing employment incentive scheme in partnership with the Social Security Organization or what we can call as SOSO, to benefit 300,000 job seekers. On the flip side, in my own opinion, we should to think wisely how to create a job by yourself. For example, we can do an online business in any platform such as Instagram, TikTok, or WhatsApp, since these all platforms can generate more profit. People nowadays are prefer to purchase online instead of purchasing in physical store due to they can save much time and flexible. Thank you.
In my opinion, since language barriers to unemployment can easily to be traced to a single systematic source, it is difficult to provide easy solutions. However, some steps can be taken to mitigate these problems. In my opinion, the gap of communication should be reduced, especially ability to speak and write in other language. Graduates need to improve their English proficiency, either in oral or writing, as it plays a critical part for graduates to be employed. Graduates need to practice the English more, despite what is their preferred lingua franca at home. Nowadays, language barrier can be solved by learning of other language. For example, make English or Mandarin a second and third language. This can be big advantage if the potential worker can meet this requirement. I will pass to the moderator back.
Alright, thank you so much, Ms. Izzati. So we have listened to all the factors and ways to overcome the youth unemployment issues in Malaysia by our three panelists. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the last session of the forum today, which is question and answer session. The question is, in your own point of view, which factors that have been discussed just now you agree as one of the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia? And please justify your reason. So let's start with Datin Emilia. Which factor do you agree as major factor?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. In my opinion, I am totally agree with Ms. Izzati that language barrier is one of the main factors of youth unemployment in Malaysia. Learning Mandarin may provide you with specialized employment prospects that you might not otherwise have access to. Being fluent in Mandarin can have its advantages. Mandarin will be a very demanding language in Malaysia. Being bilingual can set you apart from other applicants because many international corporations now have offices spread out over the world. As a result, learning Mandarin could be an excellent place to start if you want to position yourself as more employable workers. Malaysian Employee Federation (MEF) Executive Director Datuk Syamsuddin Bardan said, although most graduates can understand the language, they are unable to communicate their views orally in a proper manner. Hence, rather than how much knowledge an applicant has about the job they are seeking for, many businesses place more value on a candidate's communication skills. Thank you.
I totally agree with statement of panel 1, which is Datin Emilia. I agree that the fresh graduate in Malaysia have a higher dependency on jobs offered and have a mismatch of skill and education. Obviously, fresh graduate with higher education will not work as a labourers. According to Dr. Ye Kim Leng, Professor of Economy at Sarawak University, Malaysia unemployment rate is not alarming, but it does show the country labour resources being underutilised. Then, the unemployment market mismatch is due in part to the country economic structure, which is highly reliant on low-skilled employees, which in the plantation, construction and low-end service sector. Most of the time, fresh graduates are unwilling to accept this low-wage occupation. It is either because of poor wages or the nature of the work, which are tough, dangerous and nasty. It's true that Malaysia might not be able to create a workforce that is highly employable, and it might take a lot longer for the country to realise its goal of developing a workforce that is sustainable both nationally and internationally. Thank you.
And I agree with panel 1 too about the skill mismatch, education, high dependency, because I believe these are actually the significant factors of this issue. Because skill mismatch has been a persistent issue in Malaysia, where the expertise of job seekers, particularly fresh graduates, do not match industry requirements. With the shelf life of digital skills being relatively short, it is critical for both company and public sector effort to address the problem of skilling. Malaysia Employers Federation has mentioned about the three main challenges surrounding unemployed graduates are the need of quality skill-based and job-relevant training and the gap between what the institution produces and what the industry needs in technical and soft skill. Besides, there is also the need to invest in human capital through reskilling and upskilling workforce, which requires a transformation in education. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much, Miss Izzati. Now, we back to Datin Emilia and others. So, in you guys' opinion, which factor do you disagree as the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. In my opinion, I am disagreeing with Dr. Julia. In my opinion, the issue is not the main factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia. Based on my research, after the COVID-19 pandemic-driven MCO, Malaysia is now exhibiting promising indication of economic recovery. Jobs are returning to the market as seen by recovering unemployment rates and increased job aid posting according to Jobs Rate. Due to the increase in new job openings and the ongoing decline in unemployment, Malaysia employment rate for this year is still encouraging. The number of vacant jobs broke the record in February 2022, hitting 503,200. This is a reflection of the robust domestic economic activity recovery driven by domestic demand and ongoing external sector expansion. This is proven by the fact that 1,200 new jobs have been established as of January 2022 and 42,166 people have found new employment as a result of the economic recovery and different initiatives to increase job prospects according to the government. Thank you.
To be honest, I disagree with point of Penetry, which is Miss Izzati. In my point of view, language barrier are not a main factor of youth unemployment. It shows when some company do not take it seriously enough about proficiency in language. Most of the time, the company will look at the work experience. Young individuals have greater unemployment rates than other sectors of the population. Young individuals struggle to find work because they have a lack of experience. To illustrate, the Ministry of Human Resources has implemented the Unemployed Graduates Training Scheme through their training agency in order to provide graduates with specific skill and experience. On the flip side, soft skill development should be incorporated into the education curriculum, and students should be able to participate in extracurricular activities to improve soft skills such as personal attributes, interpersonal skill, and creative and critical thinking. Thank you.
I actually partially disagree with Dr. Julia about the economic downturn result in no job opportunities. It's just not I disagree with the point, but I disagree to address it as the main point, because this point is not the main issue as for now, since it has already been discussed and resolved even by the government itself. Like what Dr. Julia has said about the economic downturn through the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, information technology, IT, related industry, manufacturing, banking, retail business, and care health continue to offer new job opportunities. Most businesses are beginning to embrace digitization and new business methods. So the statement of no job opportunities is not valid anymore. Based on my research, according to the Ministry of Finance, total unemployment in January 2022 was 680,000, down for a 4.2% unemployment rate. The 1.1% drop in unemployment from December to January is part of the Malaysian Family Work Guarantee Initiative, which is expected to create 600,000 jobs by 2022, based on what Dr. Julia has mentioned earlier. Therefore, this factor cannot be as the main factor of your employment, because it does not have strong evidence and fact to elaborate more about the issue.
Thank you so much, Ms. Izzati, for the conclusion of our discussion today. To sum up, all the panels today are agreed that the fresh graduates in Malaysia have a high dependency on jobs offered and mismatch of skills and education can be considered as the major factor of youth unemployment in Malaysia. I believe that with all of the opinions that have been viewed by our panelists, from all aspects should be taken as a serious action to prevent from this issue being raised in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of our part discussion. We would like to say thanks again to all of our panels for the informative and interesting talk about our topic today. Hopefully, this discussion will be beneficial for everyone. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum.